So Carolyn's son has said that he can't live this way. So I got to figure out what to do about it. So I'll try to explain all this, but as you know, this is a vlog and it's not so much a drama channel. I know that's why people come here. They want the drama, but this is a vlog about off-grid living. So we'll go ahead and do the off-grid living stuff, and then we'll work our way into the drama that everybody comes here to see. So I've done several videos recently. Those of you that don't believe there's jets here, there's one there. I know they take target practice on us. There'll be another one. Here he comes. Yep, there's always another one following. I think those are called warthogs or something like that. Regardless, doesn't matter. So I've done several videos talking about electric and generators. Recently had to buy a generator. I showed you that. It's a Power Smart generator. It's just an off-brand one. It was really cheap. You may remember I made a video that I was talking about our old generator, Champion. I love Champion generators. I own two of them. One of them is a dual fuel 2500 watt generator. The other one I got Tractor Supply Store. It's a Champion also. It's a 2000 watt generator, and that one has ran fantastic. It was 8,000 hours. And then the carburetor, there's a thing called a step motor on it. I think it went out finally. So I replaced the carburetor with the step motor, replaced the spark plug, and it runs like new now. So we kind of put that one on retirement, just have it around for a backup. So we bought this one. I was thinking about buying another Champion, but I just couldn't see spending another $400 or $500 on a generator when all I really needed was something that could run the battery charger, which is just a automotive battery charger. You buy them at Walmart. It's a 2 amp, 10 amp, 25 amp battery charger. So on cloudy days, I turn the battery charger on in the morning when I get up at 25 amps. And it takes them 3 or 4 hours to charge batteries. But the solar panels do the bulk of the work around here. If you watch any off-grid channel, they all have generators, all of them. So it's just part of the deal. You got to have a generator. Are you totally off-grid? Well, I guess it depends on your definition. I feel pretty good about my life and how I've set it up, and I like to call myself off-grid. So we bought this one, and I tell you, when I bought it, there was a downside to it. First of all, it's only 1500 watts, so that's peak watts, but it ran the battery charger, and that's all I really wanted it for. It runs a lot. Sitting here running a battery charger, that old one, like I said, 8,000 hours. If I needed to power something that took a lot of electricity, I could use one of the other generators. Waited out and decided it just wasn't worth it to spend $400 or $500 on a generator when all I needed was this one. One of the downsides is it advertised that you only get 4 hours on a tank of gas. The instruction says the tank holds 3/4 of a gallon. So if you do the math, I think that's 6 hours for a gallon of gas. The old generator Champion ran 11 hours on a gallon of gas. So I was like, it's going to use more gas. But I waited out. The old generator uses a quarter oil every 2 weeks. That's $5. So you add that all in, you think, well, I guess this one, it's worth it. So I went ahead and bought it. But I've not liked the idea that I'm not getting good gas efficiency. Now, after about 2 or 3 days of running it, I began to think, well, maybe that's not right. Maybe the instructions are telling me something that's not right. Because I just felt like it was getting better gas mileage than 6 hours on a gallon of gas. I'd top it off, and it was just a little bit that I'd have to top. So yesterday we had to go grocery shopping. Now, as you know, when we go grocery shopping, we buy a bunch of meat, 30 days worth of meat, or 2 months worth of meat. Now that we have the freezer, when we ran the refrigerator, we would always have to run the refrigerator overnight on a generator because it's got to freeze all that meat. So what we try to do is we go early in the morning on a sunny day, we come home, we put all the meat in the freezer, and then the solar panels can run that freezer all day. It doesn't have to run on the batteries that way. But at nighttime, it's still running, the freezer on the refrigerator. We have to run the generator. Now, the way I do it is I just hook the battery charger up to the batteries. I run the battery charger. That way, if the generator dies overnight, we're still on batteries. It's not like we're going to lose electricity. It just will drain the batteries down really low, and I don't want to do that. It harms the batteries if you do it enough, and then I got to repair them. Long story, don't want to talk about that. Now that we have the freezer, it takes a full 48 hours to freeze that much meat because we're buying more meat now. Before it was just 30 days worth of meat, little packages that we'd slide into that little dorm-sized refrigerator freezer. Well, now we got this big freezer. Even if it's half full of frozen food, it still takes 48 hours to run. So we get home early in the morning, we pack the freezer up, it runs all day, start the generator, run it through the night, then in the morning, I shut the generator off. Solar panels run it again the next day. Then I have to run it a third night. But now, by the third night, the freezer is starting to kick off. It probably kicks off around midnight, 1 o'clock. So we went grocery shopping yesterday, and that's what I had to do. I think this thing makes more noise. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So that was one of the downsides. So what I did was is I took some boards that I had laying around. Here's a board. And I kind of kept it surrounded by these boards, hoping to knock down some of the sound because it just feels like it's louder to me. Now, I started at 7:30. So my thinking was 4 hours on a tank of gas, starting it up around 7:30, 8 o'clock, it should shut off around midnight. I thought, now that's okay. That's another 5 hours before I get up. The battery should be able to handle that pretty well. And then I'll get up in the morning, I'll start the generator until the sun comes up fully. Well, when I woke up this morning, the generator was still running. So it was running 10 hours. Now, like I said, the instruction says 4 hours. So I was really trying to figure out, why is this? The old generator's instruction says it runs 11 hours on a tank of gas, which is a gallon, at 25%. That means it's on low. These instructions don't say that. It says 4 hours, continuous runtime, 3/4 of it. It doesn't say anything about percentages of power. So my thinking is if I ramp this up to full speed, full power, that's 4 hours. That's probably what, there's just a different interpretation or different instructions on how they interpret gas mileage. So think about this, 10 hours on less than 3/4 of, I don't know how much it actually took when I got up this morning and refilled it. I didn't measure it or anything, but it was still running. So that means there was still gas in it. I'm very excited about this. So then I decided, well, you know what I need to do? I need to go and find out how much noise this thing is making. Now, the old generator, the old one, runs 54 or 56 decibels at 23 feet. That's about a conversation level. Now, everybody tells you get a Honda. Honda runs 54 decibels, so 2 decibels less. It's not noticeable. I had my generator sitting right next to a Honda generator one time at a campground when we were nomads. Couldn't tell which one was which. So to me, those 2 decibels is not worth an extra $500 because the Honda's really expensive. So then we have the propane generator. Well, it's a dual fuel, but on propane, it runs at a higher RPM for some reason. I don't know why. It produces less power on propane. It says it right in the instructions. It's less, but it's running at a higher RPM. You can hear it. It's just obviously it's higher. So I downloaded one of those decimal meters onto my phone today just to see what this is like. I came down here. This was 66 decibels. So 10 decibels higher than the old generator, the gasoline generator. But with the propane, I measured it and it was 66 decibels. It was exactly the same as this one. So I'm thinking, you know, that's not too bad. And I stood back and I listened to it and it didn't sound that loud. I guess because I feel better about the gas mileage. I don't know. So the longer I have this, the more I like it. Now, that being said, it can't run a lot. The step motor doesn't seem to be able to adjust quickly enough to run things that it says it can run. It should be able to run the refrigerator and it can't. What I did is I manually throttled the carburetor myself, so I overrode the step motor. I turned on the refrigerator with that on, you know, powered up, and it ran it just fine. So I think if I'm going to have to run extra large items with this thing, that I'm going to have to put some sort of throttle on it. and just run it at higher speeds. What I would probably do is I'd drill a hole right through here. I'd put some sort of stick on it, some sort of metal thing. I don't know, paper clip. Let's use that just for imagination purposes. You can pull it out, bend it down so it would stay at a higher throttle, because that step motor would try to regulate it back down. But that being said, I'm becoming more impressed with this thing all the time. I really like it now, but it can't run the air conditioner. So this is becoming a problem. So the other day I told you that we're gonna have to get an air conditioner in that camper. So the last 2 years, Carolyn and I haven't had an air conditioner. And I did all kinds of surveys and talked about, would you rather not have heat or would you rather not have air conditioner? And usually the surveys always say, oh, I gotta have air conditioner, gotta have it. But Carolyn and I can live without an air conditioner. We've done it 2 summers in a row now. Primarily, I would guess, is because we're underneath these trees. This tree shade us quite a bit. So when I said that Carolyn's son needs an air conditioner because he doesn't have that advantage, there's no trees over him, I got a bunch of people telling me, oh, that's a bunch of bull, he doesn't need an air conditioner, he's just gonna have to suffer. Well, I don't even understand this. Nobody understands his situation at all. Why does he need to suffer? He has every right to have whatever he wants. It's his life. If he's paying for the gasoline, great. I mean, you know, we'd like to help him out so he can get back on his feet, but there's no reason to be uncomfortable if you're going to be uncomfortable. I offered him that old generator, the one that I just retired, and we wanted to hook it up to this air conditioner in this window. That's what Carolyn and I was thinking. I hooked it up to this little generator, hoping that it would run it, because that was, in my mind, at the time, I didn't know for sure, but at the time, I was thinking that was going to be the more fuel savings. And it turns out I was correct. But I hooked it up to that one, and that one couldn't pull it. Again, that startup, which doesn't make sense. This doesn't have a high startup. It should be able to pull it pretty easy. So you got to pull that throttle out. In that case, you're not even saving gas anymore. So we went back to the idea that he'll have that black generator, the 2,000 watt one, and it will save him money. He would like to get to be able to move into his bedroom. Right now, we got that Mr. Heater portable buddy, and we're a little afraid that the bedroom is too small for the buddy heater. We're afraid something's going to catch on fire. So he's been sleeping in the living room on a mattress. Well, he would like to be able to have a living room and a bedroom, which makes sense. There's no expectation that he should have to live uncomfortable. So we're trying to figure out what to do. Well, he came up with this idea that he could get one of these portable air conditioners. You move it from the bedroom, roll it around. And at first I thought this was a good idea. So I started looking at it. The smallest one I can find, 8,000 BTUs. So it's gonna run about 800 watts. It's pretty high. And they're a little bit more expensive than a window air conditioner. So 8,000 watts, the generator could run, but it's gonna be a real struggle with it. And it's, considering how old it is, I'm a little concerned it's not gonna work. So what I'm thinking is what we can do is take this one air conditioner out of this truck camper and put it in the bedroom. And then we can just go get another air conditioner just like it for $149 at Walmart, which would be cheaper than the one that was gonna roll around, and put it in the living room window. So that camper would have 2 air conditioners. He'd run one during the day in the living room, shut that one off at night, go in the bedroom, turn that one on. He may not even want the air conditioner at nighttime, but I think that's the solution. And then I'll keep this generator down here. And now that I know that it really saves on gas, maybe that's the best. I mean, I don't want to cheat him. I don't want to say, okay, you get the more expensive one, but he is wanting to run appliances that are going to be a little bit more than what this one can handle. Yesterday's video, I think it was yesterday's video, I said I don't know if I recommend this for a homestead, and I don't think I would if you're going to want to power a bunch of stuff. But if you're doing it like we are, where you're just using it to charge batteries with a battery charger, I think this is probably your best purchase. Like I said, it's a little bit louder. You probably couldn't take it camping because that little bit louder, but here on the homestead running a battery charger, I think this is the way to go. And it's cheap. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last. If it lasts 5 years like the old one did, best purchase of my life. Cross your fingers, it lasts a long time. So if you click this up next box, take you a video where I was talking about being a coward. So if I can inspire you to think through things so you can invite your family to live off grid when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.